Hey, everybody, this is Munson Steed, and we are on CEO to CEO. And I have the wonderful pleasure of having this opportunity to tell you all this great news and to introduce you to a phenomenal CEO. And she clearly, Miss Scott, is running a phenomenal organization. Can you describe your role and talk about your position for all of those right now who need to know that there's a big opportunity waiting for them today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm Shaylon Scott, the Executive Director of Founders First CDC, and my role is not only to expand the mission and vision of Founders First across the US, but it's also to help diverse-led small businesses who are doing the work, who are putting in the effort to grow our economy, small business by small business. And so our whole mission is to make sure that they have the support, not just with education, but monetarily as well, and through access to connections too.
So, who came up with the idea? And for those who don't know what a CDC is, can you just share and give them some insight?
Yes, the mission and vision of Founders First came from our founder, Kim Folsom, and she is the CEO of Founders First Capital Partners, which is our partner in crime, our for-profit entity that has the ability to provide revenue-based funding or financing to small businesses, which is that financial component. And so she is a seven-time serial entrepreneur. She's had million-dollar companies and has always been either in tech or in software. And so all through her experience in growing and trying to get the capital and the support she needed for her businesses, she came across the same barriers that a lot of small businesses do, and especially businesses of women of color, of people of color, those barriers that continue to exist. So she wanted to create a program and a business that supported not only the education and support, but also the financial component too. And so she started with Founders First, and I've been with Founders First about a year and a half now in the executive director role. It has been amazing to see the growth in just a year and a half since I came on. But we've been in existence for about 6 years and continue to expand place to place. And as far as a CDC, that's a Community Development Corporation. And there are hundreds across the nation that do phenomenal work, from affordable housing to there are CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions. Those are also our partners in crime. They provide funding and support to small businesses and alternative financing too. So we collaborate with all of these, I like to call them alternatives to traditional lenders and support services that exist, in order to make sure our businesses have an entire ecosystem of support for their work.
When you think about it, women are dynamically growing right now. What are your visions, and what would you say to those female entrepreneurs that are really now leading the way?
Oh, as a female entrepreneur myself, I say keep going for sure. Uh, everyone constantly talks about a work-life balance, but it's really a work-life vibration. There will be ups and downs throughout your entire career. There will constantly be things that will make you feel as if you're heading down the wrong direction. But one thing about being a small business owner or an entrepreneur is that you are not alone. Everything that you feel as if you're doing wrong, or you can't understand what to do, there is someone else that has been in your shoes. And I think that's the beauty of Founders First and organizations like us, is there's a support system of not only business owners who either in your same industry, in your same region, but who look like you, who have the same background and experiences as you, who have those same barriers and doubts and fears. And so get involved, make sure that you are connected to organizations like Founders First, of course, but make sure you're connected to all of those as well, so you have that support to keep on going.
There is we talk about the support, but grants. Talk about what's happening right now for that individual who might be in Texas that is a entrepreneur. They're looking and hoping that there's something that they need for their business. Obviously, it's capital intense, which means
Mhm.
they might need 5,000 right now to really take an opportunity, fulfill an order, buy needed equipment. Um, can you share some of the things that Founders has and continues to do for the community in this area?
Yes, absolutely. So once a year, we provide what's called a Job Creators Quest grant. And we do that in each of the regions that we're in. Right now, we're in California, Texas, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. And so currently, we have a grant of $100,000 that will be provided for 30 businesses in Texas. You need to be a service-based business or have a service-based component, which is you're providing services to for whatever your small business may be, have 2 or more employees, have the ability to add new employees in the next year or two, as well as be able to have an interest in learning. One of the things that we found is the funding that we provide out, the $100,000, you can receive as much as 10,000 or as little as 1,500 of those 30 grantees. But it's also paired with a seat in one of our accelerators. So it's not simply the funding, you get the education partnered with the funding as well too. So it's a package deal. And so that's available and open for businesses all across Texas to apply until July 25th. You have plenty of time to apply. And we even have our team that's available to offer help when it comes to the application process. There's everything from the entire application on PDF. So if you have any questions at all, our team is here to help.
Well, you made it seem very simple when you said that
It
word.
is.
For those who haven't experienced an accelerator, why
Mhm.
should we as a community begin to make sure that I call accelerators practical
Yes.
research, innovation, and a process? When you think of accelerator, can you share the process, the time, and what people will take away from having the opportunity to participate? Because it's a real benefit.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There are accelerators that exist all across each region, of course, and each one is a little bit different. The one that we do with Founders First is we have 3 different ones, and it's based on your business's revenue size and where you are when it comes to growth. So for our organization, we don't focus on those that are startup or just have the ideation phase and you're trying to get it off the ground, but we're looking for those that are looking to grow. And growth looks differently for everyone. It could be adding new employees. It could be adding a recurring revenue stream. It could be expanding or franchising, all of those options. And it looks different for you depending on your business. So we have 3 different accelerators. One is for businesses of 50,000 to 250K in revenue. Another is for businesses of 250K to a million. And another is for businesses of a million to 5. So for each one of those tracks, the problems or the things that you're working on is completely different when you're at 250K in revenue versus 5 million. You have different things that you're working on. And so it's like you mentioned, it's practical, tactical, tangible things that you can use in your business to sustain. One of the big things that we like to focus on is having business owners think about implementing opportunities for recurring revenue. And by recurring revenue, if there are so many businesses that can add that, and so it's not so much a one-to-one, I sell you a shoe, that's one sale. But we want contracts for shoes. We want subscriptions for shoes. You want to be able to have that sustainable income that you can count on an ongoing basis. And there are so many opportunities, not just for the recurring avenue, but also making sure the businesses are tech enabled. One thing we learned during COVID is if you weren't ready then, now you definitely should start to get ready. Is if you're not a tech savvy person, trying to implement those things in case something does happen in the future. And another component that we roll into each one of our accelerators is a growth plan. What does growth look like for you? What are the things you need to be fund ready? What does fund readiness look like for your business, for your industry? What things do you need to check off? Are there certifications? Are there contacts that you need to make? Are there all different types of things that you need before someone can say, yes, I'll give you $250,000 or $500,000. So we try to make sure that the business owner has as much support. And then each of the accelerators, they have the opportunity to start at the challenge program and move to the boot camp and move to the fast path. And we're continue to stay with them. We're one family and provide support even post accelerator.
If you were going to give a speech at a Prairie View or a FAMU or a Spelman or Howard, and you were going to speak to young entrepreneurs who are just, budding, probably are in that 50 to a quarter million because they really don't have many entrepreneurs, what would your message and speech be? What would the title of your speech be? And what would the three things that you would share with them about moving and starting their business as entrepreneurs?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I would definitely say the title of my speech would be Your Voice Matters. I think that is something that is highly ignored when it comes to the journey of an entrepreneur of color. You have so many experts that exist. You have a lot of academic knowledge that exists, but you also don't have a lot of individuals that you are in contact with that look like you, who've gone through that journey. And so kind of trusting yourself, listening to your own voice, being authentic, and what's your vision and mission that you have for your business. No one knows where you want it to go but you. And so it's up to you to do the work to get it there. But shifting and changing to fit the mold of what others say is successful, that's not necessarily something that may benefit you. So I would always kind of move towards being authentic and knowing what your voice is. Three things I would definitely say is getting the support either through connections or education and not being afraid to ask questions. The second thing is knowing what fund readiness looks like for yourself. And that's traditional funding, alternative funding, and not being afraid to ask the questions for that as well, too, because you have plenty who are, there are bootstrappers that exist, or those who mom or relatives have provided funding, and not everyone has that. So getting as much education up front on what you need to have in place, what key performance indicators for your finances, what does good finances even look like, need to have in place for your business. And the third thing I would definitely say is expanding your horizons. Look at best practices of businesses in your industry. If you want to be the next Amazon, look at other businesses similar to it. Look at the way that they're structured. Look at your competition and see not just how you can be better than them, but what are they doing that makes them successful and how you can do the same, if not better.
Thank you for that. Lastly, when you think of systems, how important is it to have systems of accounting and
Oh,
personnel and leveraging your tech stack when you think about your systems evaluation as an entrepreneur?
well, systems and processes and procedures are so invaluable, no matter what stage you are in a business, whether you're starting up or you're in a business that's been in existence like ours about 6 years or so. You're constantly making changes and updates based on what works and what didn't work. And when you have those things written down and everyone knows how this particular thing should be done, it makes it a lot easier when new people come on. And especially as an entrepreneur, it makes it a lot easier to release the reins, because we know as the CEO or the executive, you want your hands in everything so often, but you will never get anything accomplished if you're constantly doing the work of yourself and your employees. So you have to make sure that they know what they're doing. You know what should be done and how it should be done. So you have the ability for those checks and balances, so it's consistent, and so you know what's that everyone's on the same page. So I'm definitely a big proponent of processes, procedures, finances, making sure you have someone that understands the vision that you're trying to get accomplished to.
Super. And Sisters with Superpowers, I see you as a sister with superpowers.
Oh, thank you.
What are two of your superpowers that you utilize in your leadership style?
Oh, It's funny you asked that. I always say public speaking is my superpower. If I could do that every day, I would be on the stage talking nonstop. So definitely using my voice to not only spread the message about Founders First and what we do, but the overall big message of kind of closing the gap when it comes to racial and wealth equity in our country. And it starts with those small businesses. And people find it, let me back it up. People always have an issue or a concern with focusing on one demographic versus the other. But when it comes to diversity and inclusion, it includes everyone. The small businesses, they are the backbone of the economy. So if you support those small businesses, you support the families, you support the communities. It's just one versus the other. I say my second superpower is my curiosity. I am constantly looking for systems or opportunities to break what is there. Those things that have been in existence for years, constantly asking the question, why? Why do we use this in order to provide funding? Why do we look at this in order to say this is success or not? So constantly asking that question over and over again, even for things that are written down in processes and procedures. Why are we doing it this way? Does it make sense to continue to do it this way?
For people who are just getting their tech stack together, they really aren't thinking about it. What do you forecast and see and know that somebody needs to have as part of their checklist of just a few tech things to know? And what are you seeing out there since you see it that you really want people to consider having in their tech stack, from accounting to HR to banking? What are those things that you see in the tech stack or the tech enabledness that really wasn't there maybe 5 years ago, but literally today it's there, and we should think of it as a community to embrace it as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and embrace that change? What's in that tech stack?
I like to think of as a small business or any size business, you need some of those basic things. You need a good accounting software, one that you can understand, that is user friendly, that you're, even if you're not, you don't have a financial background, if your accountant can easily explain what it is that you're looking at on a regular basis, that you're checking your numbers on a monthly basis. The second I'd say is having some sort of voice over IP or technology system when it comes to your phones or your answering service, finding ways that someone can stay in contact with you, not just by showing up at your door. If your doors are closed, how are they reaching you? Do you have, let's see, what is the other one? Other ways of getting contracts signed, like your DocuSign, electronic opportunities. Everything that you do on paper or in person should have a technology component to it. It should have an alternate that exists. And even when it comes to like what we're doing now, if we can't meet face to face, can you do it via Zoom? Can you do it Google Meets? And a lot of these technology opportunities that exist are not, too much. They don't cost too much. They're relatively low even to start out. And so the more you use them, you can adjust them and customize them to fit your business's need. And I think that's what makes it so great is you don't have to be afraid, especially to start out. You can start out really low at the free end and then go from there and get more comfortable with it. And even when it comes to finding ways of receiving money, if you're doing pop-ups, you shouldn't only be asking for cash. You should have ways of taking credit cards and all those different types of things. So constantly having those alternates to what is in person, you definitely should have those.
I love that. Lastly, closing out brain trust. What would be you talk about having a brain trust and a board of advisors, but what are the four essentials that you'd like to see every entrepreneur as it relates to their thought leadership team have? And obviously, you know exactly what I mean, but who should you have on your brain trust as an entrepreneur just coming out of the gate? Know that you need to have a relationship with these four individuals no matter what.
Oh, accounting, someone who can look at the numbers for sure, someone who's a CPA or an accountant. Definitely have someone like that. The second I would say is a lawyer or someone in the legal field that can take a look at the contracts and take a look at your legal structure, everything that you're doing, especially if you're going across multiple states or you're trying to do international business. Having someone that can help you to do that the right way. The third I would say is someone in marketing, someone that can help you. You know, you don't want to continue to do your business by word of mouth. Sometimes you need the additional help and support. And what does that look like? And then the fourth one, this is probably my personal one, is my own personal opinion, is someone in community engagement. You are in the community that you are in for a reason, and the people around you will continue to support you and they want to see you grow. But if you're in your own little box, just doing the work, no one knows what you need or how to support you. So being engaged in the community, knowing more about your public officials, what the rules and regulations are and ordinances that exist is huge to support your business.
Super. I thank you for that. For people who want to get more information, can you share where they should go right now to take advantage of this $100,000 or even less if you don't need it, but to take advantage and then get in this accelerator so that they can get a hands-on training to really get insight on how they're leveraging their capital stack now with this grant?
Absolutely. You can go to foundersfirstcdc.org and you can find out about our Job Creators Quest grant to receive anywhere from $10,000 to $1,500 by July 25th. And we also have other opportunities for other grants throughout the year, and that's for mompreneurs and veterans. So feel free to go to foundersfirstcdc.org.
Hey, everybody, this is Munson Steed. We've had a phenomenal conversation. Be sure to share this video and share this information with individuals that you know who are entrepreneurs who really could take advantage. Thanks to Founders First for all of what they're doing, CDC, and thanks to Ms. Scott for being dedicated and sharing with us insight on how we could actually change and uplift our community one business at a time at Founders First CDC. I'm Munson Steed, and this is CEO to CEO.
Thank you.